Hey guys, Zach here from Kubota Lynchburg. Today I wanted to show to you guys the new Kubota Z200 Series. Now last year Kubota came out with the Z200 Series, the 251 and the 231. This year they've come out with a Z242 and Z252 with some really nice upgrades. Honestly, in my opinion, the 231s and 251s were okay. They could have gotten a little bit nicer. And they touched on almost every single thing that was one of my little picky points or things that could be nicer. And now these are really nice mowers. For a residential, it's a pricey but high-end residential lawnmower. This has got some great features. So I'm going to go through it. I'm also going to show a little bit side-by-side comparison of what the older style is versus the new style that we see today. So the first thing I want to talk about is your suspension system. When you're buying a lawnmower, comfort is key. So this has a new K-Ride comfort system. And what that means is there's multiple aspects to it. But the first thing we're going to see is this nicer seat. It's going to have your side support here, a little bit more squish. You've got your armrest to it. Compared to the older one, still suspension seat, but a little bit more basic suspension and not as nice of a rear, back, and comfortable seat. It's much firmer than the new soft ones. The next part of it is going to be your operator platform where your feet are, because as you're driving and riding along, your feet are sitting on this, and you want that to be taking all the shock out of it. So they added this really nice lift-out plate. Check that out. You can now get to your mower deck, you can change your belts, you can put your springs on, you can clean it out way easier than the old style. And we'll look at that real quick. If you look at the base of that one, you can see there's 4 bolts on the corners. You had to unbolt all 4 bolts and pick it out to get to anything. So it's not quick, it's not easy, and there was no shock absorption to it, whereas this one had these dampeners, these shocks, so it's a lot less vibration to it. You also have your raise and lower is now off to the side, so when you're raising and lowering your mower deck, this is very easy. This is like the 400 series. You can raise and lower it, spin your knob. Let's say I want to cut it 2.5 inches, and it'll drop it right down there. This has a cylinder assist to it and a nice rubber mat to your foot so it doesn't slip off if it's wet. There's the dew in the grass. Next thing we're going to talk about, actually stay on it. If you zoom in here, this is one of the coolest features. We now have a push button start on these. So you've got your choke. You can do this with one hand. You don't need 2 hands to turn a key and pull the choke. You can now do one-handed. Push the choke in. Well, it's actually warm enough. I don't really need it today. And you can see that your engine has started. You got your throttle as normal. And to stop your engine, just push it. You're not going to lose a key ever again. You're not going to have to reach over and fumble with the choke and the key. It's now one hand does everything. Much nicer. The other thing I'm going to show while we're up here is weighted controller sticks. They actually added some weight to these. And what that does is that makes it a little bit more responsive, a little bit easier to use, a little bit easier to control. It's not so much jerk because it's lightweight as you're moving it around. You're not going to feel weight. It's not like you're pushing 5 or 10 pounds. You're pushing ounces, but it is more responsive as a control. 2 more fun features. New engine. We now have the Kawasaki and the Kohler engine options. Before it was either the Kohler and the Briggs. We now have a Kawasaki engine on the back. Easy access to everything like your air filters and your oil filters and everything. A lot of people love the Kawasaki. On the 48-inch option, you've got a 21.5 horsepower. On your 54-inch mower deck, you've got a 24 horsepower Kawasaki to handle that extra power requirement for the mower deck. New design paneling on the back that doesn't really do anything, but it's new design paneling. You now have a folding roll bar. So a lot of the big complaints about this Z231 or Z251 is solid roll bar. You cannot get it to fold. You can run into tree branches, limbs, garages. Now, it costs a little bit more, but you have a folding roll bar standard on this Kawasaki engine option. Real quick, I'll put a disclaimer. The Kohler engine option does not come with the suspension seat and is not standard most of the time with the folding roll bar, but you can always upgrade to the folding roll bar. You have bigger front tires on these. So your front tires on the Z2 Z252 and 242 are a wider pneumatic tire compared to the thinner, older ones. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable of a ride, as well as it's going to not flatten the grass out as much, not leave those lines as much because you're spreading out that weight to it. I think I've touched on almost everything other than the last one being storage. I'll show you guys this. Open storage for cup holders and everything, which is great, but your stuff, if you were bouncy, your phone, your cup, your keys are going to bounce right out of it. Now, one of the big things, that was one of my complaints because I owned one of those, you actually have a storage box with tons of space. I can drop my iPhone 14 Pro Max with a case on it. I've got tons of room. You can put clippers in there, you can put your little pruners in there, bolts, whatever you want to, extra keys, your phones, anything so it doesn't fall out of your pockets. Very nice storage option. So that's the new Kubota Z200 Series, new for 2023. Lots of nice features, still has that heavy-duty quality that Kubota builds, has that now Kawasaki engine option, those folding roll bars, that very comfortable system. When you need comfort for mowing your grass, take a look at the Kubota Z200. You'll be happy with what you get.